This video is sponsored by War Thunder. Last year, I turned TF2's useless vehicle taunts into deadly weapons. This included Soldier's Panzer Pants and Rocket Jockey, Heavy's Road Rager, Demo Man's Drunk Man's Cannon, and Medic's Manbulance. And while playing on a server with these was an absolute blast, something was missing. You see, there are 9 classes in the game, and I only had taunts for 4. Now featuring Pyro's Hot Wheeler and Spy's Travel Agent. The Hot Wheeler is the fastest taunt in the mode that lights enemies on fire, extinguishes teammates, knocks enemies back, and can propel itself forward, leaving behind a deadly trail of fire. The Travel Agent can actually fly and drop proximity bombs. At close range, its propellers also deal damage, allowing for some bomb drop combos and aerial dogfights. But that's not all. The Panzer Pants now has a homing rocket that tracks enemies through the air. But perhaps the biggest change is giving each taunt a laser guide that shows exactly where their shots go, because before, you just had to wing it. Altogether, this makes Taunt Warfare Part 3, and if you want to play in events like these, make sure to join my Discord server. Before the round started, I made a strange observation. One guy's Rocket Jockey and Panzer Pants taunts were painted with Starlight Serenity. No idea why, but at least it helped me recognize who to look out for. Before trying out the new taunts, I decided to roll out with the Panzer Pants to test the new laser guide and homing rocket. And of course, we were on Dust Bowl. Right as the gates opened, a couple of red spies began dropping bombs as my teammates flooded out. But they only deal so much damage, so we pushed through and quickly capped the first point. After respawning, I saw that one of the spies was still at our spawn, so I turned around and took him out before proceeding to the second point for an easy back cap. I continued to roll with the Panzer Pants in the next stage and had the perfect opportunity to fire my homing rocket at a flying spy. But for some reason, it homed away from him. But not to worry, because I nailed him with a couple of regular rockets. But you know what's stronger than Soldier's rockets? An L15A2 explosive shell from an AS-90 howitzer, available in today's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and free to play on PC, PlayStation and Xbox, and mobile, featuring over 2,500 high-fidelity assets for tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from the 1920s to the present. With realistic visuals and audio, every battle feels authentic and is a must-play for any military history fan. I recommend checking out the thermals. One of the most impressive things about War Thunder is its X-ray view, which shows exactly which components are affected after taking damage. The game also features a plethora of customization options, from camouflage to decorations for all sorts of vehicles, including community-made ones. And speaking of the community, War Thunder has over 95 million players worldwide, so join the battle and experience a cinematic spectacle. And if you're playing on PC or console, signing up with my links in the description and pinned comment will earn you a massive bonus pack containing the M4A2 Sherman and P40E1 Warhawk, along with unique skins and the Eagle of Valor decoration, available both to new players and those returning after 6 months. But this bonus pack is only available for a limited time, so don't miss your chance to grab 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium vehicles alongside other rewards. After getting rear-ended by this demo, I decided to try out the Hot Wheeler. I used my propulsion ability to kill someone with my flames before swinging back to the point, except I couldn't capture it thanks to a new bug, so I just sat there in confusion until a spy dropped a bomb on me. Enraged, I switched to the Road Rager and mowed down another heavy before making my return. I did the best I could, but was overwhelmed by pyros and more bombs. However, my team cleaned them up and won us the round. Entering the third stage, I switched to Spy to try out the Travel Agent. I quickly killed a heavy with my propellers and fellow Spy with my bombs. When I reached the final point, it was absolute chaos, but seeing as I could fly above it, I was perfectly safe and began dropping bombs. And because the enemy team never looked up, I never died, and we won. I'd show you guys the next half on defense where I roasted the enemy team, but we completely shut them down, so I switched over to a new map with new teams. At Stream Chat's request, we were now on Odyssey, where I returned to my roots and equipped the Drunk Man's Cannon. Right out the gate, I airshot a spy, clapped a pyro and prevented the soldier from bombing the cart. One by one, I landed direct hits on isolated targets, waiting for our VIP to return. After regrouping, we cleared a path to the first checkpoint, and just in the nick of time. I don't know why they thought it'd be a good idea, but Red kept sending rocket jockey soldiers to the cart, which had little effect due to their premature detonations and our medics popping uber. But eventually, one would sneak its way in and get us. I went back to the Panzer Pants in my next life and found a nice perch with a couple of fellow soldiers, and together, we rained death from above. At this point, it was clear that there was no stopping us. Our team continued to roll through enemy lines, and just before capping the final point, I hopped into the rocket jockey and took someone out. On defense, things started out strong. I found another perch spot and continued to spam rockets. A cheeky spy tried to fly over me, but I quickly shut him down with my homing rockets, forcing him to retreat. Given how well Red was doing, I decided to challenge myself by switching to Blue. I tried the Panzer Pants again, then the Mambulance, but Red was just too good, whereas Blue was a little special and didn't stand a chance. So we lost without even reaching the first checkpoint. After another rather disappointing round on Pier, I switched over to a map and mode I usually never play, Capture the Flag on Double Cross. I rolled onto the bridge with the Road Rager and killed a few guys, but my team just disappeared, and without a medic, a pyro took away what little health I had left. I also caught a teammate cheating who was trying to capture the intel without taunting, but because I'm a good admin, I took care of him. Finally, I had a teammate and a medic to back me up, allowing me to clear out the bridge and make a break for the intel. After grabbing it, I traveled beneath the bridge to hide from Blue, and just like that, we capped. On the next round, I switched back to the Panzer Pants, and with my own personal medic to back me up, we dashed straight for the intel once more. This time, a pyro picked it up, so I tried body blocking the door to give him a head start, which was a good idea, but didn't help because he died anyway. After that, I kind of just chilled on the bridge and got some frags while my teammates did the dirty work. And after getting the dub, someone suggested we switch to Boardwalk. I obviously agreed because it's the place where Heavy met Medic Girlfriend. So to no one's surprise, I played as Heavy. But this time, the enemy team got to the point first and quickly capped before taking me out. While searching for Medic Girlfriend in the Love Tunnel, I was chased down by a jealous free-to-play, where we had an awkward exchange, but fortunately, I made it out. But I was no match for Sandwich Heavy, who took me out no problem. In my next life, as soon as I walked out of spawn, an enemy soldier charged at me with the rocket jockey. Now, I was quick enough to turn around and avoid him, though one of my teammates wasn't so lucky. Back at the point, it was all-out warfare. My team managed to clear the platform, but there were still a couple of demos lobbing cannonballs from afar, and while trying to dodge them, a pyro drove up and fried me. In a last-ditch effort, I raced to the point just as time was about to expire, but I didn't make it, and we lost. In the next round, I switched back to the travel agent at the request of a viewer and began dropping bombs on the point. But instead of waiting for my team to cap like a normal person, I headed off to red spawn to spawn trap. But there, I found out that dropping bombs was too slow to kill anyone bolting to the point, so I turned around and went back to playing the objective. It took a while, and many bombs were dropped, but finally the enemy capped, and I was blown out of the air by a rocket jockey. And shortly after returning, I was blown up again by a cannonball. Can you guess how I died the third time? Satisfied with my performance as Spy, I switched to Demo so I could return the favor, but I was clearly off my game as I failed to one-shot a soldier who chased me for a good while before catching me in a corner. I guess the enemy team was just better because they won. Now, if you thought Boardwalk was chaotic, wait until you see what happened on Demolition. Here, I went with the Hot Wheeler, and for this game, I had two goals. Knock an enemy into the water and help my free-to-play Heavy cap the point. I met my first goal without even realizing it, and another pyro drove straight into the water. I thought it was funny, but I'd soon meet him for myself. There was also the same demo launching cannonballs onto the point, making it difficult to hold. Eventually, our free-to-play Heavy capped. but that blocked off our forward spawn, so having to loop all the way around gave the enemy team just enough time to cap the point right after. I tried my best to take care of the demos, but every time I tried, something went wrong. Once they were gone, we had enough teammates to clean up the platform and take the point back. But it didn't last long, for an enemy pyro came in and blew off all of my teammates, leaving me for easy pickings. This cycle repeated for a while. Someone would get knocked off and another would cap. It felt like this was any team's game, and after a pretty solid attempt at retaking the point, we were defeated. Now that everyone was warmed up, I changed the map to upward to finish strong. I started with the Panzer Pants and got a nice kill on a perch demo with my homing rocket, while my teammates pushed the cart. Then came the rocket jockeys, which I dodged no problem. I was about to take out a flying spy when one of my teammates rocket jockeyed him. The rest of the round was honestly pretty easy. I think it was a combination of red being too scattered and having too many spies. I was also racking up a lot of kills and dodging rocket jockeys, so in no time at all, we made it to the end and won the round. However, the next one would be a lot harder. Because I only used it once, I went medic. Things were off to a good start, but being a medic made me prime real estate for the rocket jockeys. I don't know if it was my big manbulance butt or what, but these soldiers couldn't keep their hands off me, and I couldn't evade them. Like for real. Despite my best efforts, Blue progressed quickly, but after they captured the second to last point was where we started to lock in. I switched over to demo and found the perfect spot for landing the nuttiest shots. And in case it wasn't obvious this entire time, the laser was a huge lifesaver. I had teammates defending the cart, spy copters laying bombs, and it seemed like we had all of the right ingredients to hold off Blue. They even tried to flank me a couple of times, but I took care of them. We were doing so well that I got a little cocky and drove into enemy lines, where I was pulling off the craziest jukes. But I probably shouldn't have bragged about it, because right after, Blue pulled themselves together. They started making serious progress on the cart, and before I knew it, they won. But what a round. I hope you enjoyed part 3 of Taunt Warfare, and if you have any suggestions for future events, let me know. I also want to mention a potential giveaway. But don't forget to use my links in the description and pinned comment to claim your limited time bonus pack for War Thunder. If I get 10,000 TikTok followers by the end of the month, I'll give away $1,000 worth of TF2 items. If you want to help make this a reality, there's a link to my TikTok in the description. Thank you for watching. This is LED, switching off.